This one is off with the crack of the bat and the swing of the club. It's in the bottom of the cup, and we won't let anything stop this show from continuing. The hustle never stops until we are safe at the bag. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. And Joe, we don't have quite the busy show we've had in the last couple of weeks, but still a fun one.
Well, it is a fun one. There's certainly not as much content as what we had last week. It was
Correct.
A very, very full show. But I'm very excited about what we have at the end of the show,
Yes.
A very special Sports Night spotlight. And it should have everyone involved in the Coon Rapids High School community, especially the athletic community, very excited about what's coming very soon.
I know, I'm really excited. It's been fun to watch.
Well, we're going to start by talking about the baseball team. On, Wednesday last week, they went to Centennial to take on the Cougars. Centennial, a pretty good ball club, but the Cardinals helped them out a little bit. 7 errors in the field, only 4 hits at the plate, 2 of them for Antonio Manos. Sam Halverson and Ian Wynn each had 1. Mark Manders takes the loss, although he didn't throw too terribly. He gives up 7 hits, 7 runs. Only 1 of them was earned. Wasn't able to strike anyone out. Did have 2 walks in the game. But the Cardinals bounced right back on Thursday and beat Anoka. Another gem, I should say, from Jack Vlacity. A delicious effort, 5.2 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run. It was earned, had 3 walks and 8 strikeouts. Manos again, multiple hits, went 2 for 2 with a triple, a walk, and a run scored. Jacob Fearing, the freshman, fearing not the opposing batters as he got a double and a triple. Sam Halverson was 1 for 2, scored a run. Jacob Powell 1 for 3 in his effort at the plate. Well, on Saturday, the Cardinals celebrated the team's 15 seniors when they hosted Spring Lake Park at Wintercrest. It's a big group that missed a crucial year of development last spring, and some may never see the varsity field. But they love the game and being at the ballpark, and when the Bats came alive against the Polars, it gave a little extra opportunity on a special day. Defense starts the day right, going around the horn to end the top of the first, Fearing to LeBrant. And then the great scoop by Parker Roloff over at first. Andrew Racine got the complete game shutout with 5 innings. The hits parade starts in the bottom half. Ian Wynn leads it off with a blast to the right corner. The double was one of 3 hits on the day for Ian, and it sparks the offense. Up next is Jack Vlacity, and he lines it to left. The fielder is going to bobble it a little bit. That's enough for Wynn to make his way to home plate. First run of the game. Sam Halverson keeps it rolling. He lines it over the second baseman. Sam went 2 for 3 against the Polars. And then it was Antonio Manos, another perfect day at the plate. 3 for 3 on Saturday. His first inning single loaded the bases with nobody out. Cardinals started the first inning with 7 straight hits. Ricky Petroff rolls one back through the middle. That will score 2 runs. Petroff will get to second on the throw that comes home. Lucas LeBrant, slow start to the season for sure, but he breaks out of his slump with 2 for 2 with a 2 RBI in the game. The first comes on this sacrifice fly to center that scores Jared Fearing from third. 7 runs on 8 hits for the Cardinals in the first inning. They have another huge inning in the fourth. Tyler Force, his first at bat of the season, works his way on with a walk. Then it's Tyree Kemboy with his first varsity chance, and he jumps on a changeup, driving it through the right side for an RBI single. Tyree gets some well-deserved props from Coach Bright at first. Yundy is up next, and he lines it off the foot of the pitcher for an infield single, and the bases are all loaded up with 2 outs. Zach White, his first at-bat of the afternoon, and he drills it over the head of the center fielder. Force, Kemboy, and Yund are all going to score on White's triple. Another 7-run inning, and the Cards end it early, 16-0 after 5 innings.
Well, you and I were texting during the game, and we talked about how they needed that offensive output. And granted, maybe the
21 hits.
Well, maybe the opponent wasn't up to, the best opponent that they faced all year. But the fact that they jumped on those pitchers and they 21 hits and 16 runs.
When everybody was hitting.
Absolutely.
Everybody. They got some guys in that have been playing JV all year. finally get a chance to get them into the game with a big lead. They took advantage of their at-bats. Tyler got on by walk. Tyree jumped on that. Super excited for those guys. They're great kids. They love to play the game. There's a number of other guys that still haven't seen the varsity field, but they're playing JV because they love to play, and they're having fun at the ballpark. And it's so much more fun when you're starting to win and win big. Cardinals certainly will get back to a little more reality as they play some top-notch competition this week from the Northwest Suburban. They host Tino Grace on Tuesday, and then they're at Champlin Park on Wednesday night, a game under the lights.
That'll be always fun to get a game under the lights. So hopefully they get an opportunity to get hopefully a couple more wins. It would be nice to see.
Softball team was also at Centennial on Wednesday afternoon, and a similar result with the Cougars winning 9-1. Dropping the Cardinals to 3-5 on the year. Just a couple of hits for the Cardinals, 3 of them. One for Hoyam, one for Euland, and one for Ryan Mellum. Abby Ness took the loss, gave up 10 hits, 5 runs, but they put up 9 and win 9-1.
Well, the Cardinals were really hoping for a bounce-back game when the Tornadoes blew into town on Thursday. Anoka was just 3-8, but they had put up double digits in all of their wins. So they were dangerous, but they were beatable if the Cardinals could get the upper hand early. Unfortunately, Anoka gets the offense going right off the bat. Second inning, Abby Dusterhoff drives it to right field. Paige Schultz scores easily, and Maddie Spa isn't far behind. It's 4-0 Tornadoes. Well, they're going to put up, coming up here, crooked numbers in every inning against the Cardinals. Third inning now, Sydney Kress hammers it right through the box. The throw is coming home, but not in time. 2 more runs are going to score, and the lead grows larger, 7-0 midway through the third. Cardinals able to get on the board in the home half. Grace Graham with a bloop just over the head of the third base minder. Gabby Olson scores from third, and Regan Hack trying to get to the plate too. This throw is there, and she is out. Anoka's added 3 more in the top of the fourth, but then Evan Euland unloads on this one in the bottom half. It bounces off the top of the fence into the baseball field, 10-2 at that point. It was a nice shot there. Well, the Tornadoes answer again, coming up here in the 5th. This time, it's Alexa Desterhoff, the long ball over the fence in center. A 2-run shot helps Anoka end it early, 12-2 after 5 innings.
And I couldn't tell from the video if the ball hit the top of the fence for the softball field and went into the baseball field, or if it hit the top of the baseball fence and went into the baseball field.
I think it hit the top of the baseball fence.
I think it did too. She hit it pretty hard.
She did.
Unfortunately, just not enough when the Tornadoes put up a dozen. And the Cardinals, in search again after that one. But they start this week with a big win, 6-5, just nipping the other birds in the Northwest Suburban. Ryan Mellum was 2 for 4 with a couple of doubles and a run scored. Becca Masteller pitched the last 2 1/3 innings, did not give up a run. That game just earlier this afternoon, and a big win for that Cardinal program now at 4-6, and looking at the same schedule as the boys, hosting Tino tomorrow and then at Champlin on Thursday. Both baseball and softball teams for Champlin are really good.
They are very good. I can't say enough good things about Ryan Mellum. She's just a freshman. She is so good behind the plate defensively, and she hits the ball really well. So it's exciting things for the Cardinals program to come.
Well, talk about exciting things. Coach Storick, I have not seen the tone of his messaging on his website and in his emails this giddy and upbeat in a long, long time. And unfortunately, the Cardinal tennis team is dealing with an injury right now. Derek Avery out with some tendonitis in his elbow. He has missed a couple, and that's a guy who's won 7 matches for him so far this season. So that's going to mean they have to get some other guys to step up. Ryder Held stepped in, played his first singles match. He's, I think, in 9th grade, and his brother's in 7th, or maybe he's 9th and 8th. They're both young. Ryder is the older of the 2 Held boys, but his first ever singles match, and he wins in 3 sets. He won 6-4, lost 4-6, came back to win 6-4 again. Unfortunately, the Cardinals' only other win comes from a Rio at first singles, and they fall to the Tornadoes 5-2. But they did bounce back getting their first 4-3 victory of the season against Cambridge Isani on Thursday last week. San Mario winning 6-0, 6-1. Ryder Held getting another win at this time at fourth singles, 6-3, 6-love. The other wins come from Jensvold and Anderson at second doubles, and they had to go 3 sets, but a dominant 6-1 win in the third. And then Cooper Held and Josevelli get a relatively impressive win at 6-0, 6-1 in third double. Well, the Cardinals will finish the regular season with 4 matches in 4 days, starting with a visit from St. Francis on Monday. The Cards want a strong finish, knowing this week could be big for section seedings. When they took the courts against the Saints, they made no doubt who was going to win. San Mario continues his stellar sophomore season, dominating at the first single spot all year long. He takes care of the Saints' Will Rowe without giving up a game. 6-love, 6-love. Surprise Taylor started the week right, taking care of his second singles match, 6-2, 6-1. Nick Yang in the far court at third singles, using a strong ground game to control this match. He also wins in straight sets, 6-2, 6-1. Ryder Held holding strong in those singles spots, this time playing 4 singles, gets himself another singles win against St. Francis. Great lob to the back corner. Held wins 6-2, 6-0. Henry Staples surfing for the Cardinals at first doubles, and he takes the point on his own. Staples and Vinny Schnabel win convincingly, 6-4, 6-0. Watch the net play at second doubles. Cal Jensvold and Dylan Anderson. Anderson not once, but twice going up to get it. They win 6-2, 6-4. And third doubles, team of Cooper Held and Joe Savelli make it a clean sweep for the Cardinals. They win 6-3, 6-2. Cardinals win 7-0.
Yeah, nice win for them too, obviously. And Coach Stork has a reason to be excited. I mean, he's got a lot of depth on this team, and you know, you get an injury and another player steps up and performs well. Those are the kind of things that this squad has. So he's got a reason to smile every week.
Well, and it's nice to see, you know, I talked to Derek, and he said he was hoping to be back by the end of this week.
Good.
Well, you got 4 matches this week
that
they could miss him for all 4. Hopefully, he's able to come back and be pain-free to get at least the last couple. They're at Champlin on Tuesday. They host Princeton on Wednesday, and then they're at Centennial on Thursday. Next week, they'll have their crossover for the conference tournament.
Coming up quickly.
And then the section is right behind that. And
amazing.
You know, it'll be interesting to see what Coach Stork does as far as who he puts in what spots, because a lot of times you'll see singles guys that have played singles all year playing doubles and vice versa. But best of luck to them the rest of this week, and we'll have all those results, of course, next week on Sports Night. Last week we talked about incomplete results for the track and field 5-team event. This week it was a quad meet on Thursday hosted by Coon Rapids, and again there were a couple of coaches that did not submit their scores, so neither boys nor girls have complete results. I did reach out to the coaches to see what I could get. You know, one thing that a couple of girls that Coach Denny Green pointed out was Kennedy Martinson said she's been very strong in both hurdles distances, and also the pole vault. She has an opportunity to actually get to the school record of 11 feet this year, possibly. She has attempted it, has not made it. But, you know, that of all the events is probably the one that needs the most technique work, and, of course, missed that whole last season. And then he talked also about Michaela D'Souza, who is just a sophomore, but was running varsity as one of their top sprinters when she was in middle school. He says she's their hardest worker, has gone sub 13 seconds for the 100 meters, and has a good chance at placing and maybe placing in sections and maybe even making her way to the state tournament.
We would love to see that. Hopefully we'll get more results as the show goes.
Well,
next week for the show, hopefully.
This week they're at Champlin. It's a dual meet, so you only have a couple of coaches you need to get results from. Hopefully we'll have complete results when it's just a dual meet. And the True Team tri-meet is at Anoka next Tuesday. The Champlin duel is on Thursday this week. True Team, normally it's the whole section for True Team. Obviously, they broke it down because of COVID, so it's a true team try, and then best
We'll
scores
get
from
there.
all of there.
We'll all get there. Well, the boys golf team started the season with some solid scores, but their first few rounds were at their home course at Bunker Hills. They haven't been able to put up the same numbers on the road. Last week, the third conference match of the season at the Refuge. The Cardinals were hoping they could get their scores back down to where they know they can be. Another cool day on the course on Wednesday. Fortunately, the winds weren't too bad. The top duo for the Cardinals, Peyton Himley and Nathan Clark, hoping to lead the team by trimming some strokes. Himley with a great approach shot right here, checks up within 10 feet of the hole. Still, Himley finishes a little higher than he'd like with a 94 for the day. Nathan Clark hitting from the fairway based on his reaction, not the shot he wanted. But coming up here, he's going to tap in the short putt right here on his way to the team best 92 at the Refuge. Gavin DeVries led the team with a 93 at the previous meet at Golden Valley, puts up the same score at the Refuge, finishing second for the Cardinals. Sven Roberstad, putting from the fringe, doesn't get the break he needs. He was able to trim some strokes, but doesn't factor into the team score, finishing at 98 for the day. And Captain Trevor Hyatt teeing it high and letting it fly. Hyatt was in the triple digits last time out, so he shows some improvement as he gets to the clubhouse with a 96. And finally, sophomore Nate Klinsing, providing some nice addition to the lineup. He's right in the middle of the Cardinals pack as he posts a 95 on his scorecard. Everyone in the 90s means another 13th place finish for the Cardinals with a team score of 374.
Yeah, they were posting. I think they had one. I think they had one that was only 9 holes, and they were all in the low 40s. The first 18-hole event was the Bunker Hills Invitational, and they were, they had 4 or 5 guys that were in the mid-80s. That's a big difference in your team score when you're talking mid-90s versus mid-80s.
Huge.
And these guys can do it, and obviously it helps to play on a very familiar course. And they've still got some tough courses that they're going to have to learn to manage, and that's one of the biggest learning processes of high school golf is how to manage from one course to the next. And they're at Keller on Wednesday this week and at Rush Creek on Thursday. So back-to-back events. Both are top-notch courses. If they can manage their strokes a little bit better, I'm assuming be a little bit better on and around the green is usually where you're going to find the most improvement. And hopefully they can get those scores back in. Most of these teams, as we've talked about before, have 1 or 2 guys that are 2 or 3 handicap. And the Cardinals don't have a guy quite like that, but in numbers, could possibly at least get themselves up out of the cellar for the last couple of matches of the season.
Well, let's hope that that's exactly what they do.
Girls golf team plays head-to-head matches for their Northwest Suburban Conference events. Last week it was Elk River. Cardinals put up a 208, Elk River a 193. Kate Garbo had a team low with a 45. Emily Verbeek at a 50. Severson a 55. Kylie Wilson a 58. And Defoe shot a 62. This week, the Cardinals host Maple Grove to a dual meet, and then they are at that's on Tuesday. Brookdale Invitational on Wednesday, and Bunkers Hill Invitational on Thursday, if the schedule is correct on the conference website. That's a lot of golf.
I was going to say that is a lot of golf, and I think the weather's going to cooperate this week too, so they should be able to get those rounds in.
We always like when the weather cooperates, and for the most part, it's been pretty good this year.
It really has, other than the wind.
Cooler and windier, but for the most part dry, and we've gotten almost everything in. Not a lot of delays, knock on wood. We still got some important games left to be played.
We do.
Of course, the lacrosse teams play in the rain just as long as there's no thunder and lightning. Both lacrosse teams are playing at the Coon Rapids Complex tonight, Monday night. The rare doubleheader, especially since it's the only match of the season at the complex for the Spring Lake Park Coon Rapids boys team. Last week, the Spring Lake Park Coon Rapids team was hosting Maple Grove, and they lost to a Crimson team that is one of the better teams in the state. They lose 14-3 in that one. They are now, as I mentioned, at home right now. While we're sitting here, they are hosting Elk River and Zimmerman, and then they will be at Rogers on Friday. Girls lacrosse team last Wednesday was at Armstrong, and they lose to the Falcons 20-7. Kennedy Bolander had four of the goals. Rowan Tom had the other 3. Hannah Stadolka made 16 saves, but they still lose by a lopsided score, 20-7. They host Champlain Park. That game actually already over. We know they have lost. I think the final was like 17-1. We'll talk about that next week on Sports Night. They are hosting Anoka on Wednesday, and then they're at Elk River on Friday. So a rare 3-game week for girls lacrosse.
Yeah, and you know, some of the players for that team, Kennedy Bolander has really had a nice season. She's been racking up the goals, and she's kind of been leading the way for that team. But you know, they've had a little up and down season so far.
And Rowan Tom will be playing college. She'll be playing college lacrosse next year, and she's shown why.
She's very good.
But they need to get a little more contribution, and with that game, it's all about maintaining possession and getting it back when the other team has it, which is much easier said than done. Well, there's some really exciting news for Coon Rapids athletes and the school as a whole. The new fitness center is finished and just waiting for the green light to open. It's part of the district's Fit for the Future program. Phase 1 was the main entrance in 2019. Phase 2 includes an upgrade to the choir rooms, some hallways, and the rear entrance near the cafeteria. There's also a beautiful new workout facility, and that's where we shine this week's Sports Night Spotlight.
Really the goal of that was to try to take a look at some of our facilities and maybe even some of the inequities that you know were in the district. Some buildings are older, some buildings are newer, and to try to level that playing field a little bit and also try to get us on par with other schools and other surrounding communities that have newer facilities. And when we heard that, you know, part of that project would be this fitness room, we were absolutely thrilled.
It's nice and open, we got plenty of windows. The space that it creates, the ability to have an indoor space. One of the things that we ran into a lot was in the wintertime when we had a lot of different activities going on in the building. A lot of the things that we had to do as far as training, there's some elements that we had to do in the hallways and stairwells, and so this just gives us a centralized location where we can do all of our training all in one spot.
I mean, you should take pride in your school. You should take pride in your space and your surroundings and the things you're able to use. And yeah, there is no comparison between this space and that space. And while our kids grew to love it through the years because it was theirs, you know, I think, you know, when you watch kids peek through the windows and see what this is like, there's a real sense of pride in our kids and in our community that, yeah, this is ours and it will be for a long time.
This is their room, you know. This is something that was created for them. It's a unifying aspect of every program in our school. Now we have the ability to train them for whatever they need. And I think that having that centralized location to do it, having the space to do it, and just the community that it can bring between the students and everybody else who works in here, that's going to be the best aspect of this room.
It really speaks, I think, a lot of our community, and we've got the cardinal strength on everything. Our colors are on everything. I mean, you know when you're walking into this room that you're walking into a Coon Rapids fitness room, and I think that's really important that it took shape and really became ours and unique to us.
As when people come through here, you'll see that literally we have every piece of equipment, everything that a normal fitness facility would have. We have access to video, we have access to music, and then we have the state-of-the-art equipment in here. So you really don't have to go anywhere after school. All our kids can literally stay right here and get all their needs met within one place, in one building. And I think that's the greatest benefit of this whole deal.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Pretty cool.
And, you know, I kind of watched the process happen because JT was taking pictures and he was posting them on Facebook, and it's amazing how this facility has come together. And that's top notch. I mean, that's as good as you're going to find in any high school here in the state of Minnesota, I am sure. And I'm just wondering if CTN has access to that workout room.
Yeah, from 5 a.m. until 5:30.
I was going to say 5:15.
You got to get there early. It's beautiful and it's much needed. The old workout space that they had was very crammed. This gives them a roughly around twice as much room from what I've heard.
Yep.
And obviously they're able to do the running indoors and rather than through the hallways and up the stairs. Bright.
Well, and that's the nicest thing about it.
Windows.
Yep.
Versus the old workout space was down in the center of the building, in the basement.
I mean, it's literally in the basement, no windows.
Yeah, it was
night and day between the two facilities.
Yeah, very cool,
yeah.
and very excited that it will soon be a usable space for Cardinal athletes and the school community. And I know my son's been a little bit disappointed that he may not be able to. He may get a chance to work out in there at least once or twice before the end of the school year if they get that final go ahead. But it'll be a great asset to all of the sports teams moving forward.
Yeah, it really will be. I mean, it's a benefit for years to come.
Well, we have things for you, maybe not for years to come, but weeks to come at least. On Friday, we're doing a softball game under the lights.
Young's first.
Over at Sand
Creek.
Sand Creek, there we go. Thank you.
Yep.
Over at Sand Creek, under the lights against Cambridge Isani. You threw me off with that Young's first. And then on Monday, we're going to do some baseball against Duluth East. But that's going to do it for this edition of Sportsnight. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young saying good night.